Now, since our steak is almost done, it's time to finish the chimichurri. So, you can do this by hand, but just because I'm feeling a little bit lazy today, I'm gonna use a helping hand of a machinery. So, what we need to start this is some parsley. Just a nice little bunch. Give it a rough chop. Hop, hop, hop. Just a rough chop, nothing too fancy. We're gonna put it here. We're gonna put some olive oil. Be quite generous with olive oil. That's nice. Traditionally, chimichurri has red wine vinegar. Sure, red wine vinegar is fine. I'm gonna use a little bit of that. But I like something even more special. I like sherry vinegar. Sherry vinegar has much more complex flavor. With meat, it goes absolutely beautiful because it has that umami sort of thing going on. If you don't know what umami is one of those flavors like sweet, sour, or salty, or bitter. Umami is that meaty flavor, that full flavor, like the flavor that meat has, that tomato have, ripe tomatoes, and Parmesan cheese, and some types of seaweed as well. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that. Just about a tablespoon. I don't know, we're gonna taste it later, we're gonna see. If we need more acid, we're gonna add more acid. And then we just blend. You can smell parsley, the vinegar, the olive oil. It's absolutely lovely. It is quite liquidy at this point, but remember, we're gonna add a whole lot of bunch of other stuff in it. So right now I'm just gonna pour this out into a bowl. The color right now, you might notice, it's sort of like, it's not clear like olive oil. Why? This color, this effect, usually it happens when emulsification takes effect. Emulsification is a process where two things that don't normally combine get combined. So for example, water and fat, or water and oil, or gas and water, etc, etc. So in this case we have some water coming out of the parsley, we have water, so to speak, of vinegar, and then we have olive oil. In the blender, it gives a lot of energy from the blades into this mixture, so it creates this very loose and very unstable emulsion. You give this a little bit of time and it will clarify, because the emulsion will break down, because there is nothing really in there to properly emulsify the whole mixture. A good example of emulsification is mayonnaise, where there is water such as lemon juice or vinegar, and then there is some water in the egg yolk, maybe some people add egg white also, and then there is fat, which comes from obviously from the oil. But the egg yolk has a chemical called lecithin. You can also find lecithin in soy, but it's slightly different kind. Also works as an emulsifier. But in the egg yolk, it adds it works sort of like a stabilizer for the whole mixture. When you start whisking in the oil, you break down the molecules of oil, you break down the molecules of the egg. And so this lecithin helps these molecules sort of bind together when normally they wouldn't bind. That's a huge oversimplification of what emulsification is, but there you go. In fact, if you want me to show you very quick and foolproof ways of making stuff like mayonnaise at home very quickly, I can show you. Just again, tell me in the comments. Everything that you want, tell me in the comments, and I will make sure that I can try at least to accommodate all of you. Anyway, let's get back to the sauce. We have our onion and garlic. In they go. We have our lovely chilies. In they go. I feel like I want to add a little bit of spring onion to the mixture, so just a little bit of that. Cut off these tops because they look a little bit dry to me. I don't like that. A little bit of a waste, but you know. To be honest, you don't have to waste all of that. You can save all of this and make a vegetable stock that you can freeze and then use for sauces, for soups, for pastas, for whatever. For risotto, absolutely brilliant. Should I make an episode on stocks as well? Why not? There we are. I'm gonna save this for later, absolutely. Hello, me editing this. How do you enjoy editing my stupid ramblings when I need to say the same thing like 3 times before I get it right? I'm sure you're having fun and not thinking that I'm a total idiot. Now you see, at this point our chimichurri already looks quite nice. It's actually beautiful. If you don't want to add eggplant to it, if you don't like eggplant, you don't have to add it. If you don't like tomato, you don't have to add it. You can eat it like this, and it's delicious. It's delicious. I need to try this right now. Woo! Beautiful. Nice little subtle kick from the chili. Lovely garlickiness, herbal, fresh. You can really taste the sherry vinegar as well. But you see, I have, I still want to add those eggplants, and I have them right here. Tomatoes, eggplants, nice little roast. I'm gonna let them cool off just a little bit, and then I'm gonna add them all together because I don't want the sauce to cook. I don't want there to be any heat. I'm gonna taste it again. I think you could use a little bit of a lemon zest. Lemon zest could be nice. Not lemon juice, but lemon zest. Give that just this tiny extra that will be hard to put your finger on. But that'll be good. I can tell you that the cut of meat that we are using, the New York strip, is vastly different from, for example, a very popular and also expensive cut tenderloin. Personally, I don't like tenderloins. They have nothing going for them but their tenderness. But there is no flavor. There is no flavor of beef, and I want to taste a little bit of beef when I eat it. On the other end, we have a really popular entrecote. At least here in Finland it's really popular. I don't like that either because I don't like the fattiness of it. So it has a little bit more flavor. It's also, yeah, it's tender, but I'm pretty sure that this cut is much better. I dare you to taste it and try it yourself. Heck, even go get yourself a piece of nice meat, rewatch this video, we'll make it together. You know, I'm here for you guys. I'm always here for you, at least in the kitchen. Okay, I think these bad boys are actually cool enough, so I'm just gonna use the same spoon, it doesn't matter. Spoon some of these lovely tomatoes in here. These are nice, really ripe cherry tomatoes. They're full of sugar. They're really delicious. I'll take, well, let's see, maybe I don't need all of this. I'll cut one. Nice even dices. Dices? Nice even dice. And we mix it up. Oh, look how it comes alive. Look how beautiful this is. My God! Now you really want to put this on the steak. You really do. This would go well with chicken too, you know? This would go well with anything, I'd imagine. Nice acidity, nice flavor. Let's taste. Let's taste. A little bit of everything. The sweetness from the tomato brings it all together. Delicious, delicious. We need a little bit of pepper. A little bit of pepper and just a touch of salt. Touch of salt. There we go. Mix again. You know, I was saying earlier that I might put some lemon in it, some lemon zest, but no, that will be one step too far. I don't want that. Again. That's good. I cannot wait for the steak. This is delicious, guys. You should definitely make this at home. Easy, quick, no fuss, do it. Trust me. Tune it, put whatever you want in it. But tomatoes are a really good addition. Right, guys, so the steak is now done. You can see it looks cooked. It really does look cooked. It's warm, but it's not something you really want to eat yet because you really obviously want some of that crusty goodness on top of it. So, I have my pan, warm it up, and I do think that we're gonna make two steaks at the same time. I'm gonna fry them at the same time because obviously the steak needs to rest after you have cooked it. It needs to rest just for a little while. The rule of thumb is that it needs to rest for like half the time that it's been cooking. So it's gonna be some time. Let me show you the difference now between the cooked one and the raw one on the plate. I'm gonna use just a little bit of paper to dry off the excess moisture. And here you might have noticed I had a little bit of black pepper with it in the bag. All I had in the bag was some olive oil, salt and black pepper. Just for the flavor, just so it cooks the flavor in. Just need to make sure that after I fry them I don't mix them up together, you know. Pan is hot. Olive oil. Steak number one. Steak number two. And we'll let them fry. Now obviously, the one that's already cooked will need much less time than the one that's not cooked. Because we need to cook it. It's raw. Don't be afraid of it spitting a little bit of oil. This is normal. Happens. Just, you know, take it. Just take it. I usually say, right, that it's better to turn your steak roughly once every half a minute. Why is it like that? Well, it's due to the fact that the liquid inside the steak, all the juices, obviously they want to evaporate, as you can see. And obviously it means that the moisture is going up. When you turn the steak around, what happens is the moisture has to still go through the steak to get up. This way, it's a little technique that maybe helps a little bit keeping your steak nice and juicy. Look at that color. Oh yeah, look at that. Now, because I'm doing these at the same time, I need to use a little bit of trickery. I'm gonna put this away for a second. You don't have to do it like I'm doing, I'm just doing it for the sake of showing you how things work. I'm gonna add a little bit of butter. We'll let the butter melt. You can add some garlic, some rosemary here, some aromatics. They bring out the flavor quite nicely. So you see we're doing this and just bathe it in butter. The sugars in the butter caramelize on top of the steak. Creates this lovely, beautiful, look at that. Creates lovely and beautiful flavor. There you go, baby. This is the sous vide one. It's done now. Quick wash. Back on the pan. Back you go, baby. We'll let her cook just a little while, so that it's nice and medium inside. But you see, the difference in making steak like this as opposed to sous vide is that you will see when I will cut them open, the sous vide is nicely evenly done throughout the steak, but this will be slightly over the top near the crust, slightly under in the center, but like in between them it will be perfect. It's still a good steak. It's still a very delicious steak, but it's not as good as this one. I promise you that. This Induction decided to have a war against me, so I had to change it. Jesus. What is the best way of determining how done your steak is? Well, the most accurate way would obviously be sous vide. However, you can also use a thermometer, and you can look up online the guidelines for at which temperature is steak done, or rare, or medium, or somewhere in between. With some experience, you can learn to do it by just touching the steak, like I'm doing here. But that is not that reliable, because there are different cuts of meat and different types of animal, and they all feel slightly different. So it's not so secure. For a beginner, thermometer I think is the best way, unless you want to use sous vide. We want to cook it nicely on all sides, so you see here it's a little bit raw. So just do this. Yeah, I like these non-stick pans. I want to cook the fat a little bit as well. It's gonna take a moment. The good thing about sous vide is, right, you saw the steak in a bag which was already cooked. All we had to do was to sear it. The best thing is that you don't have to sear it straight away. You can let it cool down, put it in your fridge, and just eat it on the next day or even 2 days later. It won't go bad. It just stays there. Just don't open the bag, keep it closed. The meat will stay there, cooked, nice, fresh, and you know, that's it. So you can just, whenever you're feeling like, oh yes, I want a good steak, you just heat up the pan, open the bag, throw it in, a couple of minutes and you're done. That's it. Because you see, this is still cooking, but this is already done. So much quicker. If we don't count, obviously, the 2 hours that is spent in the water bath. But then again, during those 2 hours, you could have read a book, you could have played a guitar, you could have made sweet love, you could have done anything. I think we're quite close. Feels quite close. So, same thing. Butter. You can always use more butter. I'm just being really conservative here. If I would be at a restaurant, I would use much more. I promise you that. Okay. Let it rest. Soon we can do the plating shot. Right. So the steaks are now well rested. I apologize for you seeing the camera, but I do have to get a proper shot, so you know, here we are. This is our regularly fried steak on the pan. Let's cut it in half. Then you can see it. It's nice, it's pretty. Then here is our sous vide steak. You can see the difference. This is quite even, while this is not. Right, there are a little bit different thicknesses. I apologize for that, but you can see the clear difference, and this even feels juicier than this one. So why don't we go for the plating shot? For the plating, let's cut the steak in nice chunks. And you can cut this however you want. This, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be good anyway. Promise you that. It's cut. We take our plate, some chimichurri on the bottom, beautiful, and then just like this, some nice finishing salt. A touch of pepper. Maybe a little bit of just oil. Let's taste. If you've been making with me right now, I hope you are amazed. How simple, how delicious this actually is. I want more of this stuff. Yeah. Let's go. I can tell you, tenderloin and entrecôte can go both for themselves. Right, I'm gonna finish that. See you later. I need to eat. I just had 2 steaks, and I can tell you guys that I'm quite full. But anyway, the key takeaways from this video are: choose your beef carefully, make sure it looks nice, it has nice marbling of fat, make sure the color is nice, make sure it's fresh, make sure it comes from a nice place where a cow has been happy and had a good life. And when cooking it, sous vide, I think it's all around is the best way of doing it. If you combine that with searing it over open flame, like over coal, charcoal, outside grilling that, then it's probably gonna be the best steak you have ever made in your life. If you don't want to use sous vide, that's perfectly fine, but then just be careful, feel the meat, and use a thermometer if you're a beginner. And if you're not a beginner, just, you know, just make sure it's good meat. And you don't have to overcomplicate it. There's no need. I don't like these sauces like Béarnaise and Hollandaise, those thick, creamy ones. I prefer something like nice and light and maybe a little bit acidic, like the chimichurri. If you have never tried it, please try. It's amazing. And you can do whatever you want with it. Let your imagination flow. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Please, throw down some comments on what would you like to see me cook. What questions do you have? I will try to answer everything, obviously. And I will see you next time. Keep cooking, keep eating well. My name is Andy. This was The Hungry Projects. Thanks, guys.